Hey everyone, this is Lizzie Emmons at the Jackson Arts Council, and this is the tutorial video for the Jackson Arts Council grants. We have a few things that are different this year with our Jackson Arts Council grant program that we call the JAC program. So I want to walk you through the guidelines, the project budget form, and the application that can all be found on our website at 731arts.com. If you are a recurring applicant for JAC grants, I still encourage you to watch this video just because there are a few new things that hopefully make this is a little easier for you this year. And if you are a new JAC grant applicant, welcome, and hopefully this video is very useful to you as you get ready to apply. So applications will open on March 14th. You can apply anytime from March 14th to the deadline on April 29th. You're encouraged to attend the panel review in person or phone call on June 2nd. We will give you a time on that date for your specific time slot that day to be questioned by the grant panel about your application. If you are awarded grant funds for the JAC grant program, you have until June 1st, 2023 to complete your projects. You have a while. Eligibility. 501c3 nonprofit organizations can apply for funds. Arts organizations that prioritize arts funding or arts programs specifically can apply anywhere between $500 to $5,000. If you are a nonprofit organization wanting to implement an arts program, but that is not the primary function of your nonprofit, if arts and culture is not your primary function, then your limit is $500 to $2,500 of grant funding. So 501c3 nonprofits, arts-based or non-arts-based, colleges or universities can apply for these funds for arts programs specifically, and schools anywhere from grades K through 12 can apply for funding specifically for arts programs and projects. You cannot apply for this grant funding if you're a government entity outside of an educational institution, but any schools, grades K through 12, if you're a public institution or a public university, you're still eligible to apply for funding. Fundable activities, you can find a full list of fundable and non-fundable activities in our grant guidelines. If you have questions about those specific fundable and non-fundable activities, feel free to ask us, but that full list of activities can be found within the guidelines. Essentially, the fundable activities are artistic projects or programs that must be open to the public. We want to make sure that we are funding projects and programs that benefit anybody in Madison County who wants to attend or observe this specific project. Matching requirements, this is a one-to-one dollar match, so you must show proof that half of your project will be paid for by another source or sources. Accessibility, we are dedicated to making sure that our application process is accessible to anyone who is eligible and wants to apply. So if you need assistance or if you have accommodation needs for completing this application in any way, we are available by phone call or a visit here to our office in the NED. Just call us at 731-422-1385 for any assistance or any accommodation needs. We're happy to help. Your grant will be evaluated by a grant panel review again in June. The criteria for which the grant is evaluated can be found within the grant guidelines. This grant is evaluated on a point-based system. So make sure that when you're answering your narrative questions in the application that you're providing information that's listed within the grant criteria within the guidelines. So just make sure you're referencing those as you're answering your questions throughout the application. So you can find all application questions actually within the guidelines document before you even begin the online application. So you are strongly encouraged to review the questions, the application questions, and gather everything that you need, and even answer the narrative questions in a Word document that you can save before you even begin the online grant application. We just want to make sure that you don't spend a ton of time answering questions, and that for some reason your application, if the window closes on you, that it doesn't save for some reason. If you don't click that submit button at the end of the application, it's going to be lost and we won't be able to recover it. So we want to make sure that you have a backup in a Word document, and you have the questions ahead of time and can gather everything that you need just in case that's lost, so that we can recover it a little easier that way. So once you review the guidelines, review the application fields beginning on page 6, like I said, of the guidelines documents. After you review everything, you can kind of begin gathering everything that's needed for the application. So the application begins with email, name, and entering the fiscal year of the project or program that you're requesting for funding. List all of the organization or institution's information, including the primary contact and primary signatory of the organization. Tell us the project title, and give us a very brief description, brief and specific description of what you are requesting funding for. List both the beginning and ending dates of the project. From there, you will move on to individuals impacted portion of the application. We request to have you provide data about who in the community is being impacted directly by your project. So you're going to need an estimated number of adults, estimated number of youth, an estimated number overall individuals who are being directly impacted by this project. If you have any artists involved in this project, you'll just need a number of artists who are participating in the project as well. We want to also gather information about underserved populations who are benefiting from this project. So you'll need to list a percentage of people who are estimated to benefit from this project, who are people of color, people living in rural communities or isolated settings, people with disabilities, and people who are who are 65 or older. You must provide an accessibility statement. So this is just 1 to 3 sentences stating your organization or institution's commitment to providing arts access to underserved artists and constituents. This is part of the grant panel review. Just tell us how you are serving underserved populations within 1 to 3 sentences. Project narratives is the next section of the application. We've shortened this quite a bit from our previous application, so hopefully this makes this a little easier on you, but this is still the portion of the application where you're going to go into more detail about your project. So the first question is to describe your project, including how the project will be implemented, who all is involved, where it takes place, and for whom it's being presented. Next is to tell us the goals for this project and how does it positively impact the community as a whole. What does it bring to Jackson, Madison County? Next is who exactly is going to manage your project and who all are the artists involved. Be very specific here and list their specific names and qualifications. Next is how will you advertise this event, because if you are applying for funding, this event must be open to the public. So tell us, how are you going to advertise this event or this program, this project to the public? Explain how you will evaluate if the event is successful or not, and how you have used past projects to improve on this one. If you have done a project similar in the past, how are you improving on this one this time? So next is the project budget section of the application. This is another section that we've hopefully made a little bit more concise than our previous grant application. All you have to do here is to upload a completed project budget form that you can download directly from our website. So download this, fill it out in detail, be very specific about what your expenses are here, and save it and upload it in this portion of the application, and that's all we need. Next is the assurances section. So just a simple assurance statement is required to be reviewed by the chief authorizing official of your organization, and you have to check and make sure that that person authorizes that you agree to that. So last is the requirement section. Nonprofits will be required to upload a list of their board of directors as well as a budget for the fiscal year in which the proposed project will take place. Institutions of education do not have to upload any additional required documents at the end of this application, but nonprofits do have to upload those 2 documents. You will need to check that all grant recipients, if you were to receive grant funds, they're required to attend the April City Council meeting the year that your project is taking place to advocate for the arts in the city of Jackson. This is a requirement to receive grant funding, and you must check that you agree to attend that city council meeting if you're awarded funds. And lastly, we request that all promotions for this project that go out to the public include the Jackson Arts Council's name and logo on all publicity. You can download our logo directly from our website, but anything that you push out to the public about this program specifically will need to include our name and logo. Otherwise, that is all we need from you in the application process this year. If you have any questions at all about the application, about the guidelines, about this tutorial video, or if you need anything, any accommodation needs that you might have to complete the project, we are here to help you with anything that you need. You can reach us again at 731-422-1385, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. We are happy to help you with anything you need.